Good morning, boys and girls on the internet. Today is Thursday, October 25th, 2018. Log number 298. Something very serious is going on in this country. And I think people are making too much light of it. But it's something very serious. Of course, it's in the news in this week. By the time this gets up, it'll probably be either resolved or it'll be forgotten. But this week, some people of prominent names, namely leaning left or straight up Democrats and Democratic leaders, politicians, several, and also news media organizations received bombs. They didn't get like a bomb threat. They got fucking bombs delivered to them in like a package. You know, man, looked like it was, and luckily and thankfully, none of these bombs went off and caused any harm to their intended targets, nor anybody else. So that is fortunate. I don't know if this is going to continue because on Monday they found a bomb in prominent, rich guy and frequent backer of liberal politicians, therefore very much demonized by the right, George Soros. He received a bomb in his mailbox. He wasn't even home at the time. Someone else picked it up. And then we found out not only Tuesday night, but also Wednesday morning of this week that a couple other people got, namely packages mailed to President Barack Obama, former First Lady Hillary Clinton, also Representative Maxine Waters, Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and also the opposite of CNN got, and I believe one more. Now, these targets aren't just random. They were obviously chosen for their names. They're not just prominent Democrats, but in the terms of most of them, with the exception of like George Soros, because you don't hear anything from George Soros other than some of the people who he's financially backing. You hear a lot of criticism of the current administration from a lot of these other, not only politicians, but also CNN. But rightfully so. We have an administration right now that lies constantly. All politicians lie, but they're not just lies, they're straight up maliciousness and vehemently designed to undermine our democracy. And I don't say that lightly. They say one thing with on one hand, but at the same time, like with the other hand, they're punching you in the face. They're like, oh, we're for law and order, and yet they're skirting law and then ignoring the law. They say they're for draining the swamp, but yet we have the swampiest administration that I think in living memory currently. It's the most corrupt administration ever. had them, saying that they want to bring people together and they don't want to be divisive. But yet that's what they do constantly, just divide people against each other, against the others. Who must, be careful of the others. And look how bad, the fake news media is. The media is just reporting the things that go on throughout the day. Is the media perfect? No. The criticism of the media is not what they do or do not report. There's no question that the things that they do report are things that happened. However, the way they handle the reporting, of course, in my opinion, is with kid gloves, and they try to keep things even. They do that to look neutral. That doesn't make them fake. And if you're an administration, if you're a president that not only puts forth something that's terrible or says something that's terrible, objectively terrible, the news media is going to report it. And just because the news media reports it does not mean they're fake. You know what I mean? And so don't sit there in your fucking rallies, getting all your people riled up. Look, and more and more I look at his rallies, Trump's rallies. I'm reminded of all the times of watching like wrestling, WWE wrestling, and it's a crowd mentality. They rile up the crowd, get them cheering, and they just keep going with it. They work the crowd, and any good wrestler worth his salt knows how to work the mic and work the crowd. Exactly what Trump is doing. He's not doing it for good policy for these people. He's just working the crowd. He loves hearing them cheer. So he was at a rally just the other day, for this one terrible Republican who last year literally body slammed a reporter. The straight from fucking wrestling. He body slammed him. The reporter trying to ask him a question, and the politician got all in his face. He's a Republican politician. I don't remember his name right now. He got in his face and tossed him to the ground. He slammed him to the ground. And Trump in his rally praised this politician for that. Like, oh, this is my kind of guy. And he kind of, alluded to like, hey, and he pointed to like the news media behind in the back of the room, kind of saying like, yeah, you can do that to them. That's basically what he was saying. He didn't outright say it, but and there's, you see people going up to the news media just like in a fucking wrestling event, and they put their thumbs to their throat and go across like, like, oh, I'm gonna slit your fucking throat. That's that's a wrestling thing. You go up to someone and you go across your throat, and you're signifying that you're going to end them. This is not fucking wrestling. This is not sports entertainment. This is reality. So you have all these people riled up, and I can go on and on about how Trump riles up his people to be violent, even before he even was fucking elected. As rallies, he would tell people like, next time you see someone do that, just knock the shit out of him. I like to punch his lights out, and if you knock the shit out of him, I'll pay your legal fees. Don't worry about it. That is directly inciting violence. Earlier this year, or I should say like, the quarter to middle of this year, there was something going on for a couple months with Trump and Representative Maxine Waters. And of course, Waters was criticizing Trump for his terrible, terrible policies. With good reason. Now, Maxine Waters is a African-American woman, and she's very outspoken. Good for her. But of course, Trump doesn't like that, so he criticizes her. And not only does he criticize her, but like the lowest form of criticism, just calling her, oh, she's low IQ. She's the lowest IQ of anybody. Where do you get the fucking gall? But, you know, this going back and forth, and there was a tweet, and I posted it to my Facebook. I'll post it up here. That Trump put out in like June or so, criticizing her, and at the very end of it, it was saying like, you'll get what's coming to you, or something like that. If you ask me, that's a threat. It's a direct threat of violence. And here we are in October, and somebody took him up on it. Now, was a person whoever sent the bombs to Maxine Waters directly influenced by that one tweet? No. There's no evidence of that right now because we don't know who it is, who did it. We don't know if it's a single person or multiple people who orchestrated this heinous attack. However, it's very obvious that it's someone who feels vindicated by this current administration in forming acts of violence towards Democrats. And not only just Democrats, but Democrats that criticize Trump specifically. You know, there was a report the other day of a guy that he was arrested coming off of a Southwest airline flight because on the flight, he groped a woman on the plane that was sleeping. And his excuse was, you know, I don't know if it was jokingly or not, but he said, hey, our president said we can grab, you know, he likes to grab him by the pussy, you know, why can't I? You know, there's not many times I would agree with Hillary Clinton, because I believe she is, you know, was a terrible candidate and, you know, a terrible representative of a Democratic Party. I don't like to call her a Democrat, but when she called, you know, Trump supporters deplorable, she's not wrong. Are all Trump supporters deplorable? No. Are a lot of them good people? Yes. But it only takes a few to truly show how ugly humanity can get. And not just humanity, but Americans. You know, yeah, there's some people in this world that are much worse than almost anything that any American can conjure up. You know. But again, it only takes a few. You know, just like the good people on both sides. The Charlottesville protests where there's some white supremacists, and one took it upon himself to drive his car through a crowd of people, injuring dozens and killing Heather Heyer. Trump comes out, there's good people on both sides. How do you defend that? You know, someone was murdered by a fucking Nazi on American soil in the year 2017. And if you don't call that out as being heinous, there's something wrong with you. And when Trump came out the other day, and he said, you know, that was a word that we used to use in the good old days. And I know what he was doing. He probably wasn't thinking. He probably heard a talking point, talking about the globalists. There's a lot of people who look at that term globalist in a very negative light. I think that anybody who wants to make the globe a better place for everybody is a bad person. And he said, I'm a nationalist. Now, a lot of people might not, see that as anything, really bad. But you put the word white in front of it, and you're a white nationalist. That's a term that exists. And most people, if they hear Donald Trump say, I'm a nationalist, that's exactly what they're going to think. And he's directly talking to white nationalists with that and saying, I'm on your side. And him just straight up lying about things such as currently there's a big caravan of people coming from Central America, and they all just want to come to America and apply for amnesty. They want to do things legally. They want to do things right. We have a policy of amnesty in this country that if you go to a port and if you don't have any papers, you can apply for an amnesty. They'll sit you down, they'll talk to you, find out who you are, what you're doing, all kinds of things. And they'll either accept you, pull you in, or kick you out. But of course, Trump, being Trump, and talking to his base of hateful bigots, he of course has to demonize all these people. These people with women and children. They have nothing. They're fleeing countries of violence. They're trying to flee for their lives. And right away he just wants to unleash the military at them. Put the military at the border and turn them away right away. They're trying to come here legally under our rule of law. And you want to ignore that rule of law and just send the military at them and just... There was a stupid Trump supporter the other day in an interview. He went to a rally and someone would talk to him and he said, oh yeah, I think we should just put a couple of soldiers down there and just shoot in their general direction. And maybe not hit that many of them, just shoot at them. They'll get the idea and they'll turn around. Think about that for a second. These people are fleeing, being shot at in their own home country. And trying to come to a country and ask for amnesty, and you want to shoot at them back? Where's your humanity? These people have no humanity. We're going to be facing a global crisis here over the next 5-10 years, where things are just going to get worse in terms of climate, and there's going to be a lot of places of this earth that are going to be harder and harder to live. So you're going to see people who are refugees that they can't live in their environment anymore, and so they have to leave and come to other environments. So are you gonna make sure they have a home, or are you just gonna say tough shit? You chose to live in a land that's now inhospitable because we fucked up the world. You see that. You see a lot of refugees and people coming from all over the world trying to come to America and other free nations that may be willing to accept them. And the way things are going now, America doesn't want to accept anybody. This nation of immigrants no longer wants immigrants anymore. But all in all, back to my original topic. this heinous act of terror, which I will call an act of terror. Trying to bomb some politicians and media, trying to commit these bad acts of violence towards them. It is terrorism. And I'm so glad that a couple of news outlets, I haven't seen them all, but a couple of them actually use that word terrorism. Because that's exactly what it is. Because too often there's terrorist acts happening in this country, but because it's by a white person, a white Christian, a white, dude that they call him a lone wolf, they don't want to use the word terrorism. Oh, if it's a Muslim man, even if he's acting alone, they call him a terrorist. But this is obviously done with political motivations. That's terrorism. It's a violent act with political motivations. That's terrorism. Simple. Of the last, there's a stat out there. Of the last, 10 years or so, I forget how long it was, a stat. 77% of the terrorist acts in this country were performed by white people. White Americans. 77%. And then good 32% or something was performed by Muslims, which there's not a lot of Muslims in the country, so that's a lot of terrorist acts by a few Muslims. And 2% was performed by everybody else. And I'm talking everybody. Everybody who's not white and not Muslim. 2% of the terrorist actions. So that could be, brown, black, yellow, gay, straight, female, all that. But if you're a straight white male in this country, 77% of the terrorist actions are on your, or all done by straight white males. I don't know what that says. And not just straight white males, sorry. Let me back up a bit. Not straight white males. Straight white right-wing males. That's an important distinction. Right-wing white terror. It exists in this country, and it's absolutely deplorable. And now we have a president who pretty much every day encourages it. Fuck you, Donald Trump. Fuck right-wing extremists. Fuck these terrorist acts. And goddamn, I hope none of this shit happens anymore. That, no more bombings of politicians. And they have the gall. Or the right wing, especially the right-wing media, has a gall to call liberals an angry mob, a violent mob. What have we done that's angry and violent? Not much. Antifa got a little bit angry here and there through water bottles. I don't see nobody in Antifa driving their cars into crowds of right-wingers. In Antifa, if you don't know, if you can't guess for yourself, stands for anti-fascist. They're a group of people who are anti-fascist. Can they go a little far? Yes. Can they be a little bit, extreme? Yes. But for the most part, their core ideology is to be anti-fascist. That's not bad to me. I call Black Lives Matter mobs and gangs and doing violence. I haven't seen Black Lives Matter do any violence whatsoever. I've seen people who do violence at Black Lives Matter protests, and the media pins it on them. Should I say the right-wing media pins it on BLM? these next 2 weeks, it's going to get interesting. It's not going to get any better. And I know exactly what's going to happen. As soon as the election happens, if we're able to manage, if the Democrats are able to flip houses and the flip seats in the House and the Senate, if we just flip the House to Democrat, that'd be amazing. And I hope we can do it in the Senate as well. That'd be fucking amazing. But you know, for weeks and weeks and weeks right after that, you're gonna see Trump moaning and screaming. That's fake, it's rigged. You know, there's all kinds of like illegals voting, there's voter fraud, we need some investigations. And he's not gonna take it. And his supporters are gonna be right along with him. And I'm actually almost fearful for people going out to vote in the next couple of weeks. Because you're gonna see people like, it's like, oh, you're voting Democrat? Fuck you. And like, you're gonna see violence. I guarantee it. I hope it doesn't happen. Oh, God. I don't want to live on this planet no more. Not even the country. I just don't want to live on the planet. Oh well. Elon, send me to Mars. And I'll talk to y'all later. Everybody have a good day. Tell me what you think about all this violent shit that's going on thanks to right-wing extremists in this country. Love you.
Ah, a skiing dew from my homeland. Used to have one of my own back in the day. You should take it, boy.
Yes, boy. Take it. We might need to butter bread somewhere in our travels.
This is why no one likes you.